And while Big Island residents are already starting to feel Calvin's impacts, one group of people have already seen what the storm is like up close.
KITV4 meteorologist Paul Drews reports on the hurricane hunters who are here in Hawaii. Paul.
Well, members of the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, known as Hurricane Hunters, tell me even though Calvin is a tropical storm, there can still be challenges flying into a weaker system, including locating the exact center and clear air turbulence. But that's all part of their job. There are a total of 4 C-130 turboprop planes loaded up with specialized weather equipment in the islands. 3 of them are on the ground, with 1 more in the air flying in and out of Calvin.
So we're out there collecting data mostly to help the forecasters and the forecast models so they can better predict how strong and where this storm will hit.
Data like wind speed and temperatures, which can determine if a storm is strengthening or weakening. And crews can also pinpoint the exact center of the storm.
Forecasters have said, landfalling hurricanes, we can improve the forecast by 25%. So you're really tightening down an area where they may say, instead of evacuating this 100-mile stretch of coastline, you can bring that down to 75 miles. It really helps. You don't want to be evacuating where you don't need to be.
But in order to get that important information, hurricane hunters have to fly into the eye of the storm, with winds whipping in the eye wall before the calm in the center of the storm, something that would make wary air travelers nervous about turbulence.
Really, the turbulence usually isn't too bad. We fly at 180 knots, so we're flying pretty slow, and the way I like to describe it, it's kind of like a speed bump. The slower you go over it, you're not going to feel it as much.
While most people would want to avoid severe weather, these hurricane hunters actually look forward to heading into the most powerful hurricanes.
We fly all year long, a lot of training, but to actually go into the eye of a Cat 5, you may not get that opportunity but once every couple years, so you never become complacent and it never gets old.
Their final mission into and around Calvin is underway and will continue until the storm passes the islands or reaches land, what's known as the coasting mission.
The coast-in mission, it's always important to get the absolute center of the eye as it's coasting in to give the current path and then the current wind speed so they can anticipate what's actually happening in the storm and what's going to be coming to land.
Now, once crews have flown their final mission, they'll get a day to recover before all 60 of the squadron personnel start their long trip back to Biloxi, Mississippi. That'll take 2 days of flying. Paul Drews, KITV4 Island News.
Paul, thank you. And make sure you stick with KITV4 for continuing coverage as we keep tracking Calvin. We'll have much more coming up throughout our newscast, including how the storm is impacting state and county services and workers. You can also check out the latest on Calvin on our website, KITV.com, and across all of our social media platforms.